With Chainsaw Man chapter 187, things pick up exactly where the last one left off, where you got Pochita's heart being thrown towards the members of public safety and the aging devil. His heart is just sitting there on the ground, and the aging devil doesn't hesitate to go right in for the moment needed, immediately ordering the humans in the room to just stomp on the heart of Pochita. However, it's a little too late, and Pochita transforms and just hacks away right into the aging devil with a brutal, well-timed attack that under normal circumstances would have meant the end of the devil that Pochita was facing, but alas, these are not normal circumstances because this isn't a normal devil. The aging devil compliments Pochita on being able to make it feel the level of pain that it is experiencing, saying that this is the most pain that it's ever felt before, which is extremely impressive given this is a primal devil, one of the strongest in the verse, and for Pochita to inflict that level of damage, it is extremely impressive. Yet, unfortunately for Pochita, that is not enough to kill the aging devil, and he's not going down that easy, and you can tell the aging devil is trying to make this a war of attrition to wear out Pochita before Pochita can figure out a way to defeat it. We then shift over to Denji, who is stuck inside of the aging devil's world. This time we see that Denji has finished eating yet another human who has been transformed into a tree, and he's headed towards another one, which leads to him being told that someone as young as him, who isn't even 20 yet, has no right to kill people who have lived a much longer life than him, which leads to Denji basically going, cool story bro, send me the next body, and he just starts hacking away at the tree, stating that he is thankful for the food that he's about to start eating. And this is where we get a very underrated piece of dialogue. He's a devil. It's just one line, but that one line of dialogue, it holds so much weight to it if we're being honest here. It goes back to building back on something that we saw in Chainsaw Man Part 1, where if you go back to a power, upon seeing Denji really cutting loose, she calls him a devil, while he himself isn't transformed into a devil and isn't using devil powers to do the acts that he is carrying out. It is still a very subtle thing, very subtle but poetic when you look at what's being said here, when you view the contrast. This is Fujimoto showing that humans, they can be just as quote devils end quote as the real devils themselves. We all have that darkness inside of our heart, but it just comes down to what is it that will finally make us turn the key to unlock the darkest parts of our humanity. And for Denji, what we see is him basically being driven by the most plain and simple and most primal of human urges, which is the need to survive. He has to survive this encounter with this apex predator known as the aging devil, and he has to just trust in Pochita, a devil, to get him through this entire situation. To assist the devil, he's having to end life in a very cold calculation that you would normally associate with the devil, because the more he eats, the more blood he consumes, the stronger he can make Pochita and power him up and assist him in the battle with the aging devil. It's even more poetic when you realize that Denji is just someone who has always, to varying degrees, when you read part 1 very closely, has always done some foul things. In reality, just the act of being a devil hunter and doing all those odd jobs he had to do as a kid to pay off his father's debt, it's basically desensitized him to the various norms that you and I would have been disturbed by. That's another layer that's added to the dehumanization of Denji's character, which is going to make it so much fun to deconstruct this character once the series is over. This time is from a very similar but a very different approach. It builds on Denji continuously being pushed at times to do erratic things, but it's always, when you look closely, when he's forced to do so, that's when this happens. At his very nature, he's got a good heart, but when you get to him having to deal with beings like the Eternity Devil in part 1 and the Meowie situation with power and the Bat Devil, or when you get to Makima where he had to kill Makima, it's Denji every time being pushed into a corner where his own survival or the survival of someone who he cared for has forced him to step into the darkness, basically become darkness, something that is a very real human aspect to his character. This then transitions us back to the aging devil once again continuing to tank attacks by Denji, this time with the aging devil saying the quiet part out loud. As they are, they have no means to kill him. So why don't they just eat him? And we know why Pochita and Denji will not do that, because of the contract that the aging devil has that will result in them having so many kids dying as a result. From the perspective of the aging devil, it's actually a really smart move. You're basically pushing to provoke and get that one moment of frustration that will lead to Pochita consuming you. It doesn't take but just one slip up to get to your goal. It's an effective strategy, but when someone as unpredictable as a duo of Pochita and Denji are there, you can't always expect things to go exactly as you plan them to. That's where we get to the most Chainsaw Man thing ever. Denji tells Pochita his stomach is full from eating everything that is going on, so why not just make him throw up another devil, and this time make him throw up a devil they can use. And that's where we get our reminder of Chainsaw Man's power. Any devil eaten by Chainsaw Man, it gets erased as long as it stays in its belly, but as we saw when the devil's barfed up, it returns to the world, and the effects that came with it being erased, they've virtually been undone. As for the aging devil itself, it remains to be seen if they can take it down, and as for the devil that they're about to barf up, that one is also a total mystery. We don't know what the devil's going to be. If we go back to Makima explaining to Kishibe the devils that were eaten by Chainsaw Man, there were plenty to choose from that you could use. The Nazi devil, the AIDS devil, the Mount Hio devil, the World War II devil, which that first and that last one, they might be interesting given that Mitaka's there and she shares a body with Yoru, the war devil. While I don't expect the nuclear weapons devil to be, say, barfed up, which Yoru has named twice so far in part 2 to pop up in the series, it does make you wonder what this next devil is going to be that gets barfed up and how they can use it against the aging devil. You could go with the Chekhov's gun theory that because Yoru said that's a power she wants, eventually Denji's going to have to barf up the nuclear weapons devil. This does give some vibes of the Eternity Devil fight from part 1 where Denji had to take it out with an unorthodox way when they fought in Chainsaw Man Part 1. This won't be an easy takedown when it comes to the aging devil. It almost makes you wonder if, again, does Denji vomit something that can be used by Yoru in order to help both of them win the battle? Because Chainsaw Man as he is right now, he's too weak, and you run into the issue of how do you get Mitaka out so Yoru can use that power, because this fight looks like it's coming down to Chainsaw Man and the War Devil working together, because go back to what the aging devil said before they got sealed away, basically stating that neither of them were mature enough to kill it. Just food for thought to keep your eyes on while we wait for the next chapter, which looks like it won't be out until the new year, or at least New Year's Eve, December 31st.